If you want easy to play ultralight rackets, this Air Muramasa Pro from JNICE or JNICE is the one for you. So JNICE or JNICE sponsored this video for me to tell you about the Air Muramasa Pro. These are JNICE's 5 and 6U racket offerings, which provide easy power and allows everybody to have a good time on court, even when they're ultra lightweight and 5 and 6U. Current modern badminton rackets are generally around 4U in racket weight, so they are around 80 to 84 grams. Traditionally, more heavier counterparts or heavier rackets have been in 3U or even 2U weight classes. 3U comes in around 85 to 89 grams, and then obviously 2U is further up than that. Every U range is 5 grams in difference, but actually because of the 5 grams in difference, you feel it significantly whilst you're in play, especially when play is so fast nowadays. So when we talk about 5U and 6U rackets, 5Us is generally below 80 grams here, so you're looking at around 75 to 79 grams in 5U, and then for 6U you're looking at 70 to 74 grams. Ultra light indeed. Another fun fact about 5 and 6U ultralight rackets are they're generally very easy to play, but clearly struggle from one single thing: power. Generally, if you're a player that's looking to get full length and have a good easy time on court with your rackets, generally you'll be leaning towards the 5 and 6U rackets. They're often fast to swing, very smooth, and also provide easy power for you to be able to get your full length shot. However, clearly, because of the ultra lightweight, they do have one problem: they lack serious raw power. So JNICE clearly understood this assignment and actually made these Air Muramasa Pros towards the head-heavy side to compensate and actually help you with even easier power generation to be able to leverage your shots, make it full length on court. Every little bit we need in terms of power is always appreciated. So obviously we have two rackets here. Obviously one has a broken string already because it broke during my play testing. But in terms of swing weight measurements, you can see them both here. They're 5U and 6U rackets, and they come out identical with a balance point of 310 mil after being strung. This is also a testament to JNICE's actually quality control and also consistency in terms of the production lines, being able to produce both rackets in very different weights, as you can see from the measurements, and coming out with the same feel. The 5U racket comes just a touch over 80 grams after being strung, and the 6U just above 75 grams, which means they are on spec and on weight. Let's get into how the racket plays later in the video, but the most easy way to spot which racket you have for these JNICE Air Muramasa Pros is actually this decal here. There's a decal that shows light 73.9 or light 78.9. The 5U model is the 78.9 and the 6U model is the 73.9. Obviously there's also another decal on the shaft that shows it's a 5U or 6U racket, but it's actually quite small, quite hard to read, so this is the easiest way to spot them straight away. Speaking about the racket frames, JNICE has worked something into these Air Muramasa Pros with the expand attack zone, which actually gives you a bigger sweet spot compared to a traditional badminton racket. The Air Muramasa Pro's racket frame dimensions are 23.5 centimeters in height and 18.5 centimeters across. The Air Muramasa Pros have a racket frame recess profile of top half 60% upwards in terms of recess area to help with smooth and fast swings, and also have a frame thickness of 10.1 millimeters. So all super good here. These specs certainly help produce smooth and fast swings. If we move on to racket shaft, and here is where it gets interesting. The Air Muramasa Pros have 5 titanium rods embedded and inserted in each of its racket shaft. Each of the titanium rods is about 0.35 millimeters in diameter, but up to 230 or 23 centimeters in length. So essentially it covers the whole racket shaft all the way into the cone. But the 5U and 6U Air Muramasa Pros have different length in terms of their shafts. The 5U Air Muramasa Pros have a shaft length of 22 centimeters, while the 6U model is half a centimeter shorter at 21.5 centimeters. This also means that the 5U and 6U also have a difference in racket handle length. With the longer length, you will get a shorter shaft by half a centimeter down at 16 centimeters, and the 6U racket with the shorter shafts will get a slightly longer racket handle at 16.5 centimeters. In terms of the shaft diameter, there's also a slight difference in terms of both racket weights. It's 6.9 millimeters for the 6U model and 7 millimeters for the 5U model. Marginal there. The Air Muramasa Pros have a rated string tension of 32 pounds for the 5U model and 30 pounds for the 6U model, so plenty there for everybody. For me, obviously, I strung it with my usual string setup at 27 by 29 pounds. 27 pounds on the mains, 29 pounds of the cross. This is a string setup that I normally play with, and it has been consistent through all the racket testing that I do. Additionally, these are also the swing weight measurements after I have applied one extra layer of racket wrap grip onto each of the rackets, which is also part of my standard consistent testing setup. Want to protect your rackets from chips, scratches, and even potential cracks? Have peace of mind with the premium racket protection tape from ckweighreview.com/shop. They're almost invisible and gives your racket that extra layer of protection in case of scrapes and or worse, a clash. So go check them out, and we also have some limited edition signed prints there too. Okay, so how do these rackets play? So immediately after they're strung and also wrapped, you can feel that the racket is leaning towards the head-heavy side. It's not a sledgehammer feel. That means it's quite slow and sluggish, but these are fast and smooth. So in terms of ratings, like 1 to 10, I would put them at 7.5 to 8, so leaning towards the head-heavy side. But you don't feel it that much because they're ultra lightweight in 5U and 6U racket weights. So you can still swing them around really, really fast, but you do feel that there's some racket head weight there to help you generate even more power, especially easy power. And from my testing, I felt that the 5U was just a touch more head heavy than the 6U model. This is unique because ultralight rackets often tend to feel even more head heavy because of the racket weight being moved forward just to compensate and help you gain a little bit more power. But this is unique in this case, and I prefer the balance, the racket balance of the 6U model a little bit more than the 5U here. Obviously, both rackets swings very fast and very smooth, but if you're comparing both 5U from the 6U, the 5U will just be that little touch slower compared to the 6U because it has that extra weight element to it. But both rackets will not be slow in any comparison to any higher weighted rackets. So from this point, anything that is reactionary, so obviously in terms of defense, in terms of drives, anything that you play here in front of you will not be sluggish at all. In fact, it is extremely easy, super fast, lifts, drives, blocks, perfectly clear. Anything that you require a huge swing, that is where you lose a little bit of power and you tend to struggle in terms of the raw power element. Obviously, in terms of easy power, which is what I meant when if you have time, you can get shots clear, back-to-back, full length, good length. This is what this racket is for. But obviously, if you're looking for the sledgehammer power, super ultra head heavy, 3U, 4U weight class type power, maybe you might have to adjust your expectations a little bit. But in terms of generating power, you will not struggle with this at all. This is designed for players who want access to easy power and actually help you with your game. And this is an easy to play racket to get you started on the Air Muramasa Pros. This isn't a demanding racket and a lot of players like to enjoy it and have a good time on court with this one. If you want even more power and a solid feel, why not check out JNICE's Black Panther 2 rackets, which I recently reviewed here. If you have any questions, listen down in the comment section below. I'll try and answer as many as I can. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.